Okay, so hello everyone. A very good evening. I hope I'm audible. Please let me know in the chat that I'm audible or not so that I can start. Okay, great, cool. So let me share my screen, and today I have started the recording, so no worries. I think the screen is visible. Let me stop my video. It will be very much distracting. Okay. Uh, okay, cool. Great. So this is our course curriculum in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So first of all, today our task is to finish this one, the Kotlin basics, and into this unit we'll be earn 4 badges: introduction to Kotlin and the first app in Android Studio, and the third one is creating a basic layout, and this is a dice roller app. So I will not do all the things because it's an self study type of thing. I don't go through all the things about this. I will just start from the Kotlin, like what is this programming language, and those who don't know anything about programming languages, I will also explain all the like basic things about the programming languages and all of that. So first of all, you have to go to this link. So let me just copy and paste it over the WhatsApp group. Okay. You all just go to this link and make sure that you have already signed in into your Google account you have. Okay. Yeah, I have pasted here also. Just check that out. So let me share my screen again. Okay. So just go to this explore, the first one. And here you will see there are 4 pathways. So we'll start from here, pathway 1. So just click explore. Okay. So here you can see there are some tracks. So you have to complete all of that. There are some videos you can watch. Okay. So these are optional. You can just skip them. I will suggest you, if you are beginner, then just go through all of that. Okay. Then we have a code lab. So what this code lab is, you have to do the programming stuff over here. So if you just click on that, take to the code lab, there will be instructions, what you have to do, and all the things will be explained over there. So let me just go to this code lab. So what this code lab is asking for you, it's just your first program in Kotlin. So before going into that, I will give you one more link. Just go to this link. This is a playground in your browser. You don't have to install Kotlin or anything in your PC. Okay, you just go to this link and you can run your Kotlin program over there. So I am pasting that link over there also. Just go to this link in the chat. I have shared with you. Just go to this link. So let me just open that one real quick. Okay, so this is the Kotlin playground. So here you can see there is a code already written over there. So what is so first of all, those who don't know anything about programming languages, so let me just give you some kind of idea about what this programming language all about. We know that there are many languages out in the world, like human readable languages, like in English, Hindi, Bengali, anything. So for computers, there are also languages. So these languages are very much easy to understand. You will know later on that why these languages are very much easy than these English, Bengali, or this kind of human readable language. Because in computer languages, it's very much readable, and also it's very much logical. But in the in the sense of other languages, like human readable languages, these are not logical things, right? So just like human language, like human communicate with another person, or throughout the society, we'll use programming language to communicate with the operating system of our computer. Okay, so I know most of you might know that what is operating system is. Most of you have running on Windows 10. Some of you have Mac OS as well. So these are operating systems, and if we have to communicate means if we have to do something with the operating system, if we have to, like every day we're doing some kind of task like opening the browser, Chrome browser, and open the YouTube and watching videos over there. So we are giving some kind of instructions. So these instructions are given by our we are using the GUI, means graphical user interface. Okay, so we are just clicking over there and everything just works. So behind the scene there are some kind of codes written over there, so some kind of logic are there. So these logics are very much helpful to figure it out for the operating system, or you can say for the CPU to do the tasks, right? So these operating systems are very much capable of reading these kinds of languages. Okay, so and also there are I will not go very deep into that. I will do that in the second module. Okay, so these programming languages are less complex than our human languages, as I told earlier. So Android's app are also written in Kotlin programming language. Previously it was done by Java. Now also you can do in Java, but it is preferable to use Kotlin languages because it has less code, boilerplate code, and you have less bug-free code. Okay, so user like developers can write code efficiently and with few errors. Okay, so learning to create an Android app, you have to know the basics of the Kotlin programming language. So here you can see there is a keyword fun. Okay, so this means it's a function. Okay, so what does the functions means? Functions means there are some kind of task over will be there which have to perform by the computer. Okay, so this function name is called main. So every programming language, especially in Java, we have some kind of entry point. Entry point means from there the program will execute. Okay, so this is the main function from where the program will execute. Program means the application or the software, you can say, like, right? So in this there is a curly braces, one is starting and one is ending. So in between the curly braces, here you can see a keyword is written print ln. Okay, so this print ln means print new line into your computer. Okay, so when you just click on that play button, you can see there is popped up hello world. Not only hello world, you can write anything over here and it will be like hello Android. Okay, so it will be over there, or you can do anything, you can just print over there. So this is the first program you can create in Kotlin. So I hope most of you just understood what I have. Anyone having any doubts till now? They can just comment. Okay, okay, great, cool. If you want to suppose I want to wish someone. Okay, so I wrote over there that happy birthday, and I can just type any name over there. So Andy. So one cool thing I can do over there is that here I have hard coded the name. Okay, so I have to change every time the name. So if I want to create some kind of program that user wants to buy or something from me as a developer. So this is a basic program, and I have made a application out of that. So in that I have wrote this program, and I have just compiled it and just give to the client or the customer. So the customer cannot edit it again and again. So if he or she has to change something, he cannot or she cannot do from here. So what I can do is make a variable. So the what is variable? Variable is we can define any kind of we can store any kind of data into it. Okay, some kind of we can store some kind of numerical values, we can store some kind of like this type of values. This is called string. So these are called variables. So how can we define those variables, and we can reuse the variables later on? We just have to change the variable values, and here it will be reflected. So what we can do, we can just create a variable over there. Okay, so I can name it anything like name. Okay, so this means variable, and this is the name of the variable. So I can just Andy. Okay, and here I can do, I can give this curly braces, and in the a dollar sign, and just how many of are doing with me? Okay. So just run this program and tell me what is the output. Comment what is the output. Just run the program and type here what is the output, so that I can see like how many of you are doing with me. What is the output? I did not get any response. Okay, it's showing error. Okay, how many of you are getting errors? Okay, cool. You should get error. If you are not getting error, then there is some issues. Yeah. Okay, so let me run, and it will show error. Okay, Raj Majumdar. Okay, Raj, yes, you are right. We can just initialize like it's a string or not, but in Kotlin we don't have to do that. You can, but there is no need for that also. Like for if you are declaring anything previously, then you just initialize it. Then it should be better to just initialize with the it is with string or not. So at that point we have just initialize with the let init keyword. Okay, so let init means later I will initialize that one. So at that time we have to initialize it like it will be string or not, then we have to like something like this. Okay, but here I am initializing and giving the values over there, so it's not mandatory. How many of you getting error? Let me know. So I cannot just share the screen, and at the same time I cannot see the comments. Yeah, the double quotation signifies a string. Okay, I'll explain again. So for the first time being, I have hard coded the name over there. So I can do like this, Andy, right? And I can just run it. So every time I have to check, I have to change from here. So if I have to change the name, then I have to change from here, happy birthday Raj. Okay. Uh, Instead of doing that, I'm storing this value inside a variable, and this variable name is called name. Okay, so this is confusing. So let me just give another variable name like a. Okay, so this is the name of the variable a. You can write anything over there. And here I am using inside the string. Inside the string, if I have to like uh, take any kind of variable, or if I have to access any kind of variable, then we have to do this. Or you can just uh, write this thing curly braces, and inside that you have to just write the variable name, and it will be fetched from there. So you can see happy birthday Andy, and if I change this one to Raj, then also it will be changed. You can see happy birthday Raj, right? Or you can just remove these curly braces, and it will be work fine as well. Okay, so previously previous Kotlin versions, we have to just give these curly braces. For now you can just skip this. Okay, just a dollar sign and followed by the variable name. Can I reassign? Yes, you can reassign to this variable type, but there is also a type called val. ठीक है? So this is a value type. So once it is be initialized, it cannot be changed. So let me show you. Okay, so let me change that one. So again I am initializing this to another name. Let me change it to Raj again, this B1, and let me just cut it from there, only the V. So if I run this program, so you can see val cannot be reassigned. So value cannot be reassigned, but if we are doing by this variable, then we can reassign. So let me show you that also. So a equals to Shruti, and if I run this program, then you can see the value is changed. Okay, I think you got it. Have you got it or not? Let me know, then I can. Okay, okay, cool. Okay, great. So if I have to store any kind of numerical value, we can also do that. So let me do that real quick. So I at a equals to 10 and b equals to, let's say, 20, and I will do the sum of the following. So A and B. So let me do sum of the followings. So can you tell like how can I assign those? Can anyone from you? Okay, one is suggesting to do like that, right? Okay, so let me check if that works or not. You can see any others, any other question? Okay, Ayush Agarwal. Ayush, let me do what Ayush is saying. So let me check that one also. Okay, any other? Okay, Mineral is saying like this. Okay, let me check also. Any other? Any other ways to do that? Okay. Any other ways? Can we do that? Uh, like this. Sum of A and B. Can you do like this? Anyone having any idea? No, there is no header file needed. It's not C. So first time I told you that we have functions, right? So this is the main function. So from here, the first the code will run. So this is the entry point, and uh, beside the main function, we can create our own functions. Okay, so let me do that for real quick. So I am creating my own custom functions to just create do the sums. Okay, so I also have to write this keyword font, and then if I want to give any kind of name, so because it's a sum, so I will give sum. And here in the main function you can see there is nothing. Okay, and in the sum we have to do sum for the two numbers, and the variables, there are two variables. So I will pass those variables into the functions. So function you can say like a machine or something, where we are you giving some kind of inputs, and according to that we are making some kind of logic into the functions, and we are returning something, means we are outputting something. First of all we are input some kinds of values or some kinds of in the machines we do some kinds of inputs before, and then it process the input and then gives the output, right? So like that I will also give input for that. So because the a is an integer type. Integer means this numerical, I know most of you know about these basics things about programming, integer or float, character, this kind of things. So I will pass a and b over here as an input. Okay, so I pass a, the type of the variable is int, and I pass also the b, the type of the variable is also input, integer. Okay, so in the body we will do the logical part. So logical part means we will outputting the uh, processing the process, we will process the input, and then we'll be outputting something. So what will be output? Our output will be a plus b, right? So we are doing a plus b. So what we'll do is return these things. So return a plus b. And if I run this program, then you can see uh, int is not defined. Okay, sorry, my mistake. Because it's an I am returning something, so the output should be specified, because it will give me error. Okay, so if I am not specifying the output type, then it will give me error. So I am also returning integer type. Okay, after doing the summation of a plus b. So now you can see the sum of the followings is 30. So you can see like it's a very much complex for you for doing the simple sum operation. But if the program grows, like in our Android application building, we'll do many complex things. So for that also we have to organize our code. So that's why I have showed you this thing, that you can create your own functions and you can create your own logic into that. And after that you just use your function anywhere in your code or in the main function to get all the things done. So I think most of you got the point. Okay. Anyone having any doubts, they can also ask. Okay, cool. And some of you asked me about the input thing, right? How can we take input from the user? So let me do that one also. So here I am giving the user uh, a prompt that enter a number. Okay, I'll do it very slowly. Just follow with me. What I am doing, you just write it over your browser. I don't know if it will be run over here or not, but in real PC it will run. Let me see. So just write these things: print, enter a number, and just take one variable and just write this keyword read line. And inside this print, I will write you entered and the number, the user input I will show over here. So this is the thing. So that I just write these 3 lines of code into this main function, and run the program. So here I cannot input the like anything, because there is no nothing over there. You can do that by using your real PC. So because I have not entered anything, so it's saying me to you entered null. So inside your PC, when you installed JVM, so here you can write any kind run any kind of Kotlin program. So here you will see that there will be a prompt that enter a number, and there will be a cursor blinking over there like this. So you have to enter the number and press enter, and after that this print line will be executed. So because this is a browser based compiler, so here there is no option to enter the input. Okay, so that's why it's not showing anything. So this is how you could like get inputs from the users. Okay. Is there any use of semicolons? Yeah, you can use semicolons, but there is no restriction that you have to use semicolons like Java. Yeah, Kotlin is case sensitive. What is the difference between print and println? So the print means it will be printing over that line itself, and if you wrote println, that then it will print on the next line. Okay. Println means on the next line it will be printing the thing, and print means it will print it on the same line itself. So these all things are over there, you can check. Okay, so all the things are explained over there. You just go through these documentations and you can check, and just don't just go through this. Just open your this Kotlin playground and just do all kind of stuff, play with that, and you will be know that how these things are happening and all of that. Okay, so after finishing all of this, you have to uh, give one quiz as well, you can see. So just take that quiz and you will get one badge for this thing. Any doubts? So introduction to Kotlin, I think I have covered most of the things. If you have any questions or anything, then just let me know in the group. I will make one Google Meet or something, and I will cover all of your doubts. So next pathway is create our own first app. So let me explore that one also. So here there are some kind of intro videos, and the first code lab is download and install Android Studio. For those who did not download and install Android Studio, just go to this thing, code lab. Okay, so here it all mentioned that what are the requirements and all of that. So this is the requirements, and this is the link for downloading Android Studio. Just go to that link, and if you have created your Google developer profile, so make sure just sign in with that one before download. Okay, just sign in with that one and download Android Studio, and you will see you will get one badge for downloading Android Studio. Okay, all the things are written over here, just go through this thing. So after installing Android Studio, let how many of you install Android Studio? What is the difference between Kotlin and Flutter? Okay, so Kotlin is there because in Java we have some kind of issues. So to cover all these issues, Kotlin came into this picture, and Flutter is you can say it's a framework. So the language is Dart. Uh, by using Flutter, you can do like cross-platform application. Cross-platform application means you just write your code once and you can distribute it to all the platforms like iOS and Android. So this is the thing, Flutter is not an programming language, it's a framework, and in that framework we use Dart as in programming language. Can we use Android Studio on 4 GB RAM device? Yes, you can, but it will be bit slow. If you have 8 GB RAM, then you are good to go. But if it's 4 GB, then it it will take some time to like open and all of that. But you can do that. I installed Android Studio earlier. Do I have to install or reinstall Android? You just sign in with that and just click download and just cancel. So you will get the badge. You don't have to download the whole file. You have 8 GB of RAM and you are not able to run Android Studio. Okay, I will start one sessions into the Google Meet, and those who have issues with Android Studio or any kind of things, they can just join over there, and I will solve your issues. Okay, no worries. During installations you might have issues. Okay, and one thing I want to share, those who are not installed Android Studio are going to install Android Studio, please make sure at the installation time just uncheck the uh, what you can say, the emulator option. Okay, so uncheck the emulator options over there and then install. I don't have a laptop today order. Okay, no issues, Sushant. We have plenty of time. We have time like till 10th of January. So don't worry. You can cover that. You have downloaded with the emulator. Uh, you can uninstall that Android Studio once and then reinstall. No issues. Okay. Any questions? Any other questions? Then we can go to the next. So after I have 2 GB RAM. No, 2 GB RAM. It's not possible to run Android Studio. So this is Android Studio. So when you first open it, uh, it may look like some kind of different thing. There are many projects for me, so that's why it's showing. For you, it will be blank. So just uh, make sure that you are on the project pane and just click on the new project. So here you can see there are many templates. This is for phone and tablets. This is for Wear OS. Wear OS means smart watches. This is for Android TV, and this is for automotive. Automotive means cars and all of that. So you can see like how many opportunities are there as a developer. Being an Android developer, you can like it's a huge market. So for by default, there this template will be selected, an empty activity. So we'll go for that. Every default option will not do anything, and it will redirect to this page. So this is an empty activity, and what this activity means, activity means the screen. You can see there are many videos over there. If you go to the subscribe pin, then you can see those channels you have subscribed on, and if you go to libraries, then you can see other things as well. So these all are activities, and these all are called screen. Okay, so these screen or activities we have to create, and we have to logics, and we have to create the UI means will be showing over the screen. Okay, so these are the activities. By default, this is the name of our app. We can change it to anything. Okay, so let me change to GDSC, and you can see that if I am changing this thing, uh, here also it's changed. For you, this will be com.example dot something. You can give your name over here. You can do like this. So this is the package name. So what the package name does is it's an unique name for every application. So this unique name is needed for identification of each application. If you want to upload your application into Google Play Store, then you have to have an unique package name. So for every project in Android Studio, for every app, there are some package name. You can check it yourself. For any app, just press and hold the app from your smartphone and click on the app info, and from there you can go to the app details and you can see this package name for any application. So do check it out. You can check now or later. So this is the package name, and this will be unique to every application, and this is your location, which from where your app will be located, and this is the language. By default it will be selected as Kotlin. You can select Java, but in our module all these things will be Kotlin. And this is the minimum SDK. So what is this minimum SDK means? SDK, the full form SDK is software development kit. So for which Android version you are targeting, like what will be the minimum support you want to give? Like if I want to give support for Android 8 and higher, means the app will run only on Android 8 and higher versions of that. If I choose Android 7, then it will run on Android 7 and higher, not lower. Like it will not run on Android 5, it will not run on anything else rather than Android 7. Okay. And if I am choosing that, you can see your app will run on approximately 89.0% devices. So there are data from Google that they are suggesting how many device they have, this collection of data, how many devices are running on which of these Android versions. So according to that they are suggesting this. So if I choose Android 4.2, then you can see that your app will run approximately 99.8% devices. So I will suggest to choose Android 21 to 24. So I will for this thing I will choose 24 and click on the finish button, and it will start loading the application. So while the project get loads, do ask questions if you have any questions. Yeah, uh, they're estimating these things. Mode of the devices are, I think, anybody have like Android 5 or 6 as of now. Maybe it's 7 or 8, but not less than 7 or 8. Will our progress will be synced with our profile? Yeah, as you are go through all these modules, uh, you will earning badges, and it will be tracked. Okay. Okay. Yeah, sure. I will share the recordings after this. There are so many buttons I can understand. Okay. I have opened a project once. How can I start from beginning? So let me just close this one and again show you how to do that. Let me close this project. Click on that new project button. Click on that empty activity. Click next. Give your name as you want and then click finish. And it will be redirect to this page. Okay, just give some time, then it all will be loaded. It depends on your PC system, because if you have higher end PC, then it will take less time. If you have lower end, like 4 GB RAM or 6 GB RAM, then it will take much more time, 5 or 10 minutes it can take, but you have to wait. Okay. Okay, so let me go through all of these. There are many things over here. Don't be confused for that. So in the left hand side, you can see there are some folders. You can see there's an app folder, manifest, Java, and all of that. So you don't have to know everything over here. Uh, so this is, you can say, the project structure. Okay, there are many structure as an Android packages project. We don't have to know all of this as of now. So you can see there are this Java, there is a folder called Java, and inside that Java folder, what we have created uh, at the time of the creation of the project, we have choose this package name. Okay, so this will be unique for all. So if we open this package, or you can say folder, then you can see there is a file called main activity, and this is the file, and the extension of the file is .kt, because it's an Kotlin file. So if it was a Java file, then the extension will be .java. In the previous example, as I shown you, in this Kotlin playground, here also you can see there is a main function, and as I told you, from these main function, the program will execute first. This is the initial point, or you can say this is the main point where the program starts. So here also in Android Studio, you can see the file name is main activity. So that means this is the uh, program, or you can say this is the file that will get load when the app launches. Okay, so if you write something, if you have to do some kind of things that you want to show when user clicks on your app and the first time when it loads, then you have to write those logics over here in the main activity. We can change we can change it, like we can change any name over there, but it's not mandatory, or it's not necessary for now. We can change from this manifest file. I will not go all of this for as of now. You will be very much confused. So here you can see there is this package name over here. So the package name is the same as we like give for the first time when we created the project. And here you can see there is a class, main activity class. So what the class means it's an blueprint. Blueprints means, suppose you hired some kind of civil engineer to make a apartment. Okay, so in that apartment you will have many kinds of flat. Okay, suppose there are two bedrooms and one kitchen or one bathroom. Maybe there will be a flat where there will be only one bedroom and one kitchen, or maybe there are 5 bedrooms, like that. So for that, what the engineer will do, he will create a blueprint for that. And according to this, suppose you want your flat to be at the like same, the color will be same, the window will be same, all your flats will have 2 or 3 windows, then you can just create one blueprint, and according to that you can create all the flats according to this. Even if you want to change the color also, you can do that by changing like only the color, nothing else. So the structure wise it will be the same, but if you want to change some kind of properties of that flat, then you can also change. So instead of doing every flat there will be a blueprint, like every flat there will be a design, so this will be very much complex task, and also uh, very much time consuming, and the engineer will also take much money for that. So you just create one blueprint for that, means one design, and then you can just change a little bit and create variety type of flats like this. So this is the main concept of class over here. So inside the class there will be many functions, or inside the class there can have also a class, means inside the class there will may have a class, and inside that also there is a class. So these things will cover later, okay, at the last part of our session, like program, not here. So just to give you a clear idea about classes, so inside the classes there will be various methods, okay. So these methods will decide what to do and how to do, and according to this we can change anything, like we can change any color, or as I told you, as any text, or any kind of things. Suppose uh, we want to create a shape into our application. Shape means any kind of triangle or circle or a hexagon, something like that. So what we can do is create a class of shape, and from that shape class we can create many objects out of that. So this shape class include uh, the height and width and all of that, and according to this we can create like a rectangle, or can create a circle or oval, any kind of shape out of this. The class name will be the shape, and using the class shape we can create many objects like circle, or triangle, or rectangle, like this. So this is the main concept of class, and you can see over there that this class name is main activity, and it extends app compact activity. Extends means uh, this main class inheriting some methods of this class. So this is also a class uh, included in our Android, okay. So this is a class that is inherited by this main activity. So all the methods available in this app compact activity class, okay, will be available to this main activity. So this on create method, so you can see there is a function, so it's an function. So this on create method is defined into that app compact activity. So if we did not include that one, then we are not able to get this on create activity. So you can say we are it's kind of parent and child relationship. So those who know Java knows about these things, inheritance and all of that. So don't just overwhelm with these things. We don't have to understand all of the things over here. Just to make the clear idea, I just give you some kind of basic example for that. So what the onCreate method does is it create the first screen when the app launches. It create the first screen into your application. Okay. So in the onCreate method, you can see that set content view. Set content view means we are setting something into the view. View means the screen. Okay, we are setting something. So what we are setting, this is r.layout.activity main. So we are setting some kind of layout. So where this layout lives, you can see there is also folder called res. So this is called resource folder. Inside the resource folder, there are also some subfolder as well. We are looking into this layout one, so we'll go for this layout. R means this capital R means resource dot layout means inside R there will be layout folder, and inside the layout folder there will be some activity underscore main. So you can see there is activity underscore main dot xml. So this XML is basically the UI for this application, and you can see as of now, if I zoom in, you can see that it's written hello world. Okay, so this is the basic application. When you create any kind of project, it will be over there, uh, and these are the components we can use over here to create our application. This will only includes the UI parts, not the logical part. All the logical part will be in the .kt file. Okay, and all the our design and all of that will be over here. So this is our main screen. You can see it's on the application screen. So if I there are some parts as well. Here you can see it's on the active on the design side. So if I go to that code part, then you can see this is the code uh, uh, which is responsible for showing only this screen, this hello world. Okay, so here you can see there is a constraint layout. So there are many layouts into Android Studio. There are relative layouts, linear layouts. We'll all cover that. Uh, so this is a layout, and this is called constraint layout. So inside the constraint layouts, you can say this is the parent. So this is the parent layout. So inside the parent layout, you can see constraint layout means this is the full screen, and inside that layout we have this component. Okay, so this text view, and if I want to add a button, we can do that from here. Okay, so just see, I can just drag and drop these things over anywhere in the screen. So you can see we we have a button now, and because it's a constant layout, so there are, you can see there are 4 dots. So we have to constrain all of that. We have uh, 4 sides of the screen, and we have to just constant to the screen, otherwise it will not show over your screen. So I will constant from the left. What I have done is just click on the dot and just hold the mouse, and just drag it over there. So if I want to change the text of this button, what I can do is I can go over here in the text. You can see this is a button, so I can change from here also. Okay, so you can see that it's changed, and also I can change from the code part. So this is the button. Okay, so you can see there is the text. So I can change from here also, AJS, sorry, Android Study Jam. And if I go to the design, you can see that it got changed. For the text view as well, we can change from this uh, hello Android, and if I go to the design thing, then you can see Android. And if we want to change the size of the text, you can do that as well. So text size, uh, if I go to the, then you can see it increased a bit. So let me just increased by 26. So you can see it got increased. So there are many properties out there. We can do design the app from here. Okay. So if you are beginner, you can just go these things and play around all of that. Just drag and drop, and uh, okay. So this is giving some kind of error because I have constraint from only start and the end, not from here and here. So what I can do is I can just delete this thing, and I will constraint from this component. So I will go like this, and from the bottom also I will do like this, and I can do some margin as well, like this. We can change that also, like from the top we can also change, like let me change to 200, so it will be shifted towards the end. And we can change this also, the end, and I want to have like 100. Okay, so this is our first interface, uh, something like this. You can do whatever you want, uh, create a, just insert a button and insert a text view, or just delete all of these and create from scratch. Okay, so if you want some kind of text view, then just go to this text and just drag and drop this text view, and just constrain those from top, bottom, start and end. And from the code part you can change the text view. Okay, after all of that, just just one more thing I have to do. uh, Let me connect my phone. Okay, so I'm using my physical phone. You can use emulator, but for emulator you have to like 16 GB of RAM. So I have 8 GB of RAM, and it will be very much slower if I run emulator on into this device. So that's why I choose physical device. I will show you how to do that in your physical device. So if you have any kind of phone, you have this developer option, uh, and you have to enable it by going to your device info and go to you can go there will be many phone. It will be into the about phone section maybe. So there you will find build number. So you have to just click several times on that build number, and the developer option will be on. And into the developer option, and then you have to go to this developer option into your phone, and just on the debugging USB debugging mode on. Okay, so if you find it difficult, then you just search on the Google or YouTube how to enable USB debugging. Okay, so there you will be find videos, or if you can't find anything, you just ping me. I will show you how to do all of that. Okay, so if I connect my phone over here, you will see that my phone, and so I have connected to my phone, and you can see, you will see there will be a device, and you can see this is the device is populate over here. So when you can see your device name and your model, then you can just run on this thing, run button, and it will build your application in real time. So it may take some time according to your system. So just wait a little bit, and it may if you have mi phone, then it may prompt you into your phone that do you want to install the app or not. Just allow all the things, and it will be installed on your phone, your first application. And if you it will be automatically open the app, and you can see that you what you have written in the text box will be there. Okay, so as of now I can't show you my I can't share my mobile screen. and it's already launched into my mobile phone, and it's showing me text view in the middle of the screen. So you can just do by yourself. And if you have any kind of issues regarding this developer option uh, thing, then you just ping me. I will show you all the things. Okay, so any doubts you can ask, or have you faced any issues regarding this process? Okay, cool. It's asking, Raj Majumdar is asking, it is asking for import Android Studio setting. What should I do? Uh, do not import setting. Just choose do not import setting, and you're ready, good to go. Okay, here I will take 5 minutes break. You guys can do whatever. Then we can go further. We'll take 5 minutes break. Okay. Anyone having any issues regarding this project creation and installation? Am I audible? Hello. Okay, everyone, just open this Kotlin playground again. Just open this thing, Kotlin playground. Okay. Okay, so what we will do then, let me create one. So in Kotlin, we can create lists. It's like array. If you are familiar with C, C++ or Java, then you know arrays. So in Kotlin also we have lists. So how we can initialize a list, and we can just print all the elements inside the list. So let me do these things, and just you guys please do with me. So I am initializing one list called items, and it will be list of the items will be uh, like Google, YouTube, Meet. Okay, so this is my list, and inside this list there are many items like Google, YouTube, Meet, Play Store. So what I can do is, if I want to print all of these one by one, I can do a loop, for loop. I think most of you know about these loops. So in Java or any kind of languages, we have to write kind of these things like int I equals to 0, and then then we have to do some kind of checking from where to where we have to check. In in Kotlin, we don't have to do nothing. It's like it's more of like Python kind of thing. So if I want to print all the item one by one, what I can do is, I can give any names like I or J or anything like we have to do. So here I am doing, as it's all our item, or I can give the name like product. Okay, so these all are the product of Google. So let me just do product. So product in, and these all products are inside this variable. Okay, so items. So product in items, and in the body of this for loop, what I can do, I just print all of this. So here you can understand, if I give like only print, then you can see what will happen. Not like that. So I want to print the product only, right? So let me just run this program, and you can see all the things are just printed as in one line. So here comes the print ln. So this is the difference between print and print ln. So you can see it will be printed into the next line. Every subsequent line it will be printing all the things. Okay, so this is how we can store multiple variables, you can say multiple values inside a list, and we can access this list by doing this for loop. Or what we can do that what we can do is we can just check any elements using the indexes like we have in our array. We can do that here also. So for that we can just change something like in items dot I n d I css indices. Okay, so products in item dot indices, and we have to specify the indices over here. Okay, so what we can do that like as I already told you, that if we have to uh, access any kind of variables, then we have to give the dollar sign inside this print statement. Okay, so I want to access the index. Okay, so let me check that one real quick. uh, Sorry, uh, I have to check the product index, right? So if I run this, what is happening? Indices, product in items dot indices. Okay, cool. This should not happen. Hmm. Oh, sorry. I am not inside a string, so my bad. So you can see 0, 1, 2, 3. Previously the values. So now we are printing only the indices. Okay, the index of this value. So what we can do that we can do like products at, at index, then we will print the index. Product is then the dollar sign and product dot, sorry, product inside this will be products, and it will be product. Oh no, it's not products, it's items. So you can see products at 0 index is this thing. This should not happen. Indexes, products at product is items, yes, items, and the indexes. So the index is product. Anyone having these issues? Did you get the same output as me? Okay. check real quick if I am missing something. So for indices, println product at product. Okay, these are good. Oh, sorry, my bad again. So you can see product at 0 index is Google, product at 1 is YouTube, 2, 3, all of this. So you can do like this using the indices, or you can just print all of them by doing only this thing, items. Okay, like this product. And if you are confused and if you are just used to this I and J, then just use I in items, means into these items, and just print all the I. So it will give the same output as mine. Got it? And about the class, I have explained to you. That also I can share with you. So we can do like this, right? Class, we can create a class called shape, and we can also create another class which will be rectangle or circle, anything we can make uh, rectangle. Then we have to take some kind of variable, like in rectangle we have the heights. Okay, and that height may be integer or float or anything, or so let me check, take integer. And also there will be the length, and this is also type int, or you can take it double or float, anything. So inside that class, what I can do, I can calculate the perimeter of this rectangle. Okay, so perimeter equals to, so the formula is, I think most of you know, just drop the formula in the comment. What is the formula for the perimeter of rectangle? Most of you know about this thing. So this is a basic math. Anyone? Okay, let me do that. I think you got bored into this thing. So height in plus length. Two. So I have one class called shape and another class called rectangle. And inside rectangle, we have created one called properties, which is called perimeter. So it is calculating the perimeter of this rectangle. And the formula is height plus length into 2. Correct. So what we can do is, let me refresh that one real quick so that I could get the main function. Okay. So inside the main function, we can just call this rectangle and use this property. Okay, so I'm storing the rectangle. I'm creating an object of that. So rectangle, and we have to give the name same like this. It will be it should be same. Sorry, rectangle, and inside that, if I have to pass this thing, the height and the length. So let me pass 8 and 5, and let me print. So I don't have to use this. I can just directly use. I have to use dollar sign when I am inside the string, like inside the parenthesis. Then I have to use the dollar sign to access. So this is the property I want to access, and I have I have to just do like this. This is the object I have created. So inside this, this rectangle object is stored. So I am just accessing a property of that rectangular class. So what I will do, rectangular dot perimeter. Okay. So if I run this, then you can see it gives me the output as 26. You can check it by yourself. Uh, just let me know if you are done. Okay. How many of you got the correct output? You can see how cool it is. We can just create anything and we can use it over this main function. Okay. One thing we can do is just inherit this thing. I think you remember that inside our main activity.get into this Android Studio project, there is also like class main activity and it's inherits from app compact activity. So this is also a class, and if we want here also we can do this the same. We can inherit from this class. So inside this class there is nothing, but we can do that. For that we have to make this class open, so it can be accessible from anywhere. So that way I am using the keyword open so that I can access it from any class or anything. So I can inherit from the shape class like this. Okay, and everything will be the same. No more changes. And if I run this also, it will give the same output. Okay, okay, cool. So it's almost 2+ hour. I think most of you just got bored. You can ask any questions you have regarding this thing. If this program will be in the offline mode, then it will be much better for you and also me to conduct. Can we use math.sum? This kind of commands. Commands means can you explain like commands mean? I did not get it. Please send the video. Yeah, I will send you. Ayush, can you elaborate? Like, what do you want to ask? Can you use math.sum means? Like in Java, we have math library. We can do math.max, math.mean. Uh, you are asking about this thing? Okay, okay. Yeah, in Kotlin also we have the standard library. How do we write this code in Android Studio? I mean, where? Okay. So in Android Studio, we have we have linked our the UI file, I mean the XML file into this thing. You can see this is already linked. So if we have to take inputs or you have to uh, just show anything over here, so we have to also link these views like these components. Okay, so you can see there is an ID for that, and I can change the ID. So by this ID we have to link on this onCreate method, and then we can just create all these functions, and just output the output will be shown over this text view. So I will show this so all of this using by creating one app, one calculator app and one dice roller app. You can also see from the course curriculum that I have shared with you, there also it mentioned how to do all of this. And I also create one calculator app for that, how to take inputs from users, how to display all of these things, how to uh, make your own functions, uh, how to check leap year, how to create a birthday greeting app. All of this I will show you. Let's stop sharing. Okay, screen is not visible. If I click on this component text view, then you can see there is an ID. So I can change this ID to something like text, and I have to uh, use this ID inside this main activity like this. Like I have created this set content view into r.layout.activity main, and like this I have to import this text field inside this main activity. Then I can make use of this UI. So I can show anything over there, calculate uh, anything like I'll show you how to do this in the next video. I think for today it's very much what I will say. Many of you just got bored, so for today it will be very much overwhelming. If I hmm, what is the command for importing the library? No, you don't have to import anything in Android Studio. If you want to learn only Kotlin, then you can install IntelliJ IDE. Okay, so IntelliJ IDE, you can run Kotlin program over here. After completing all the study materials, what will be the proficiency level of our Kotlin? It depends up to you. How many time you have, how much practice you are doing regarding this. It depends on you. If you complete all of that, then I make you will be very much proficient in the basics of Android development. And then afterwards, if you want to uh, make it further, then you can do that. For that you have to make practice, make apps, and you have to regular update yourself, all of that. Then you will be very much proficient into Android development. uh, Internship or jobs, you have to Like Android is a very vast subject and it is very much complex uh, in order compared to web development or any other thing. So it will take around 1 year to just proficient about these basic things. And if you just regularly do the stuff for 2 years, then you will be very much confident to get any kind of internships or jobs. IntelliJ IDEA is free. You have to download the community version. There are two versions. One is ultimate version and one is community version. You just download the community version and it's absolutely free. There you can run Kotlin program. And by now you can do it by the Kotlin playground itself, because you don't have to install anything. Just to practice Kotlin, because we will use Kotlin in our Android Studio. That's why we have to know the basics of Kotlin. Uh, in the next module, we'll start from creating our first app, which will be calculator, and the other will be a dice roller app as per the curriculum. Any other questions? Do you have? Just practice all of these things. Just go to all of the track, all of the paths, and complete all of these. Make sure to go through all of these code labs and all the documentation of that, because in the quiz itself, the question will be asked according to these pathways. After completing the quizzes, you will get the badges. So make sure to complete the quizzes. So we have completed these two things. So in introduction to Kotlin, we have completed and create our first app, which is the Hello World app. We have completed, and also we have checked some kind of basic things about the layout, like the components and all of that. In the next module, on the next session, we'll start from there. We'll create a basic layout that will be image view, text view, and a button. And then we'll create this dice roller app. And also I will show you how to create a calculator app. Beside that, oh, is there any attendance from? Yeah, every time there will be an event. After the event, there will be a post-event survey form circulated to all those who have attended the session. So make sure to fill it up, because from here we can track your attendance. And also if you just joined in this event, then also I got notified that these attendees are attended this session. According to this, make sure to just fill out this feedback form, because Google is also tracking the thing. So that's why I just request you to fill up the post attendee form that is shared to you via email. Is making a class necessary to do anything? No, it's not necessary. But in object oriented programming, if we have to do it by classes, because it's an what you can say, structured way of doing things. Because in that example I have tell you now that if you want to create some kind of thing that will be similar, then why not create one boilerplate code, or maybe one boilerplate blueprint that will be useful for all of other things that we want to create. So it is very much important to make your code organized, so that if you are creating a complex project, then you will be not in a bloody thing, that you don't know anything about this code. Like if you have 50 or 60 Kotlin files, and inside that there are hundreds of thousands of code, then if you are not creating classes and if you are not doing this logically, then in future you will be very much in trouble to mm, if you have any kind of bugs of something like that, then it will be very much hard for you to find out these things. If you make classes and using these classes you are creating custom functions, then it will be very much easy for you to module your app. So your app will be module in different sections, different classes, then it will be very much easy for debugging thing. Okay, so let me stop.